Hello, everyone, and welcome to week one of Corporate Sustainability. I'm Syeda, and in this session, we will explore what sustainability really means, why it matters in today's world, and how it shapes the corporate behavior. This session will also outline the module structure, expectations, and your role as an active learner. So if you look into the course aims and objective, the module is aimed to develop your understanding of how business can operate sustainably while also balancing social, environmental, and economic demands. So throughout the semester, you will engage with theories, case studies, as well as real-world examples from ethical sourcing to carbon neutralizing strategy, and that will illustrate and give you both opportunities and challenges in order of maintaining the sustainability. So if you look into my role as a tutor over here would be to guide you and to facilitate you learning by providing the theoretical frameworks, academic reading, as well as feedback. So your role is also equally important in terms of engaging actively, attend the classes, contribute in the discussion, and explore sustainability debates. So please remember that sustainability is not just an academic topic, it's a real world impact. And by the end of this module, you should be able to critically evaluate how organization contributes or hinders sustainable development. So if you look into the definition of sustainability, so when you hear sustainability, what comes to your mind? And is it the most widely accepted definition that comes from the UN, which says meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation uh, to meet their own needs. So it's also based on three pillars, which is economic, social, and environmental, and often summarized as people, planet, and prosperity. For instance, the Patagonia that exemplifies this by balancing profit with environmental activism. So if you look into these pictures, you can see how much we contribute to the planet negatively and what impact it is bringing to the world. If you look into this diagram, you can see that the carbon 2 emissions are ranking as per the countries where China is leading, to US following that, to UN, India, followed by the rest of the countries where you can see the list contributing at the very bottom like Saudi Arabia, Canada, and Indonesia. So interestingly, the countries that are the one list producing the carbon emissions are Rwanda, uh, because of their harshest climate impact. And this illustrates the global inequality as well. And a key reason why businesses must act responsibility is considering the hospitality industry. For example, you might see that hotels are developing regions cope with rising temperatures and resource scarcity. So there is no abstract issue, but this affects the sustainability directly. If you look into these pictures where it demonstrates that the business user scenario that is expected to be by 2030. So if you look into the number of ore that we need to accommodate the world's population, one wouldn't be enough, where we would require two of them. If you look into the second diagram, it talks about the number of Earth planet that we need if every citizen adopted the UK lifestyle. That runs up to 3 planets. And if you look at the very bottom one where it talks about how many of Earth do we need if every citizen adopted the average North American lifestyle, the number goes up to 5 Earth, which is kind of alarming. So if you look into the impact it has on businesses, so this is now an integral part of business strategy, and external forces like regulation, consumer expectations, and investors' pressure now shape how business operates. If you look, for example, like companies like Tesla sees opportunities in sustainability through innovation, while other risk reputation damage and if they fail, what to act on. So later in this module, we will also use more framework to analyze and evaluate these influences. If you look into the root cause of unsustainability, this includes over extraction of natural resources in terms of like chemical accumulation or ecological imbalances, right? And social inequality. So each connects directly to business activities. For example, like the first fashion industry that contributes to waste as well as poor level conditions. So this have both environmental as well as social problems. So this recognizes this pattern that helps us rethink about what corporate sustainability is and what is corporate responsibility. If you look into the picture, so what can we do? What action can we do? And by the year 2020, for climate change action, we all need to take responsibility and recognize that individual contribution make up the sum, and all the small steps that we take on a regular basis will lead to a giant leap. And business now as usual scenario means business not as usual. If you look into the Sustainable Development Plan that UN came up with, so the 17 SGD goals that act as a global framework for tackling in terms of poverty, climate change, inequality. So businesses do play a vital role in that because whether it's through renewable energy or ethical labor practices or circular economic models. So if you look, for example, businesses like IKEA integrates the SGD frameworks and they contribute almost 12 of the 17 one, where they ensure a sustainable production and consumption process by using more sustainable materials and encouraging a process of reuse as well. If you look into the goal, so it's a universal call, right? And UN wants all the country to contribute towards it to protect the planet and improve the lives as well as the prospects of everyone everywhere. So why should business care about this area? In order to increase their profit and efficiency, maintain an image of themselves, as well as making sure they're fulfilling the legal requirement, the ethical obligations that the business have, as well as making sure that business case or social or natural cases are being addressed. If you look into SGD and the business, so there is a handout that you can go through and talk about the related business and what impact that have, and you can brainstorm some of the ideas that could help to achieve each of those goals. So moving to corporate sustainability. So if you look sustainability from the lens of corporation or business, this is extending sustainability principle into business operation. And according to research, it is about meeting stakeholders' need today without compromising the future generation. And this comprises the CSR, the stakeholders theory, the corporate accountability, as well as sustainability development. And a good example for this one would be Unilever's Sustainable Living Plan. So where it focuses on linking profitability with social and environmental goals. If you look into the key principle of corporate sustainability, Estesin came up with an ideology where it identifies the key principles such as like ethics, governance, transparency, business relationship, the financial return of the business, the community involvement, as well as the economic development, value production of service, employment practices, potential as protecting the environment as well. An example would be HSBC that commits like net zero financing by 2050. And this also reflects their accountability as well as long term planning. As future managers, your challenge is to balance profitability with ethical responsibility. If we wrap up today's session, we have summarized what corporate sustainability is, what sustainability is, and why corporate sustainability is no longer optional. So it is essential now for organizations' survival and legitimacy. And this week, please read your additional learning resources that you are required to study, and please follow the pre and post class activity. Those are available on Moodle. This leads to the end of the session where you can see the touch reference list for your reference. Thank you for listening.